the abortion law in Texas.
Educate me. What's happening to Texas? These people, man. These Southerners always doing this random shit. What are they doing?
Yeah. Well, recently, Texas has now gone into a very conservative government. So over there, they have Republicans and Democrats.
Yep.
We have Labour and Conservative. So over there,
And the Lib
Democrats and
Dems.
Labour.
The Lib Dems.
Yeah, and the Lib Dems are in the
And
middle.
the BNP.
Whatever. But the main parties over there are those two.
Yeah.
So when I say the word Republican, I mean Conservative. When I say Democrat, I mean Labour. That's the easiest way I can start this out. So this might really go to shit and it might flame out because we're two guys talking about abortion. Don't know if this is going to go down well at all, but we're going to give it a fair crack of the whip. Agree, Karen? Cool.
Agreed.
So the basics of it are, a bill was passed to stop women having an abortion after 6 weeks. Now, you being a doctor know that it's difficult to know if you're pregnant after 6 weeks.
Yeah, and I presume the argument's going to be about life starts at 6 weeks.
Yeah, so apparently 90% of people, according to some outlets, have said that they don't know they're pregnant after 6 weeks. So by outlawing this and making it illegal is a massive deal because how are you going to know?
Well, there's not actual choice there, isn't it? It's different, like, if you know you're pregnant, let's say before that, and you're making choice. But this is saying the choice is already taken away, isn't it? That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's beyond 6 weeks, you have no choice now.
Yeah, lawmakers have done it kind of weird. So they've said, oh, it'll be after 6 weeks, it has a fetal heartbeat. But that doesn't make sense because it's still an embryo and it doesn't have a heartbeat. So...
yeah, I'm not going to profess to know actually that. This is what
that
I
doesn't
studied
make
in med school.
that
Embryology.
doesn't make much sense when I was looking at it.
The argument's going to be that there's life, isn't it? I think that's...
Yeah,
That's
so
the
it goes
point,
back
and
to
they
the
can
old
argue
argument. It goes back to the
You've
old
got 6
argument of
weeks.
like, when do you believe in life? Like, is it when it has a heartbeat? Do you believe in life in conception? Like, it all depends on your faith, doesn't it? And because it's a conservative government, they're going to think we're going to cater towards our massive Christian following. So we need to outlaw abortion. We need to make it illegal.
But again, what's the agenda? The agenda by doing that is what, votes? Is that the agenda here?
It might be votes, but also the abortion issue has just been going on for years. Ever since Roe versus Wade in 1973, it's been going on and on and on, non-stop. They've been trying to get that law reversed, etc., all these kind of things. So, fine. People
and their
who are raped,
argument will... Yeah,
go on. The argument who are what?
Yeah, they're going to argue that, okay, you've got till 6 weeks, it's your decision up until that point, but like you said, that's mitigated by the fact that if you find out after that, if you're not, say so you're someone who's not trying for a baby,
it's done.
and therefore you don't really, and you'd, some women don't have periods every month, okay, so you might skip
they don't.
a period.
Some are irregular.
Right, exactly, that's very normal for some people, and so then you just think, okay, for whatever reason, happen to do a pregnancy test.
Well, now would be a great time to buy as many pregnancy tests as you fucking can, because you've got to test yourself weekly now, right? Especially if you've got irregular periods. Most women think like, oh, I'm just late on my period, but now they're going to be like, I'm running to the store to go and buy a fucking test straight away to find out if I am pregnant or not. That must be horrible.
It's not a way to live, is it? I mean, my personal opinion on this is always going to be pro-choice. Whatever you believe has to be what you believe, but it shouldn't be imposed on. And I'd say that generally about most things when it comes to religion and faith. You know, as long as you believe what you believe is not really harmful to anybody else, then keep believing it, just don't impose it on somebody else. And at the end of the day, it's a woman's body. It's her body. From my point of view, the doctor's point of view, it has to. Yeah, I'm pro-choice, man. It has to be.
I am as well. I think
choice.
it's up
to
to
make
you
it law. I mean, like it's
only state law at this point. That's why it didn't get. That's why I don't think it got massive media coverage. It got enough, but it didn't get as much as you think. If it was national law, big issue.
No. So, for example, if you're in the state of Texas and you do that, you're imprisoned, or like, what's the ramification of?
So I'll come to that in a sec. Let me just carry on with the backup. So, women who are raped are not exempt from this at all.
Okay.
Which is steep. I thought that would have been an exception, but no, that doesn't count. The reason why it's so key is because abortion clinics can't counter-sue with this policy. So what the government have done is they've essentially pushed back and they've said, you can't sue us, we're going to make citizens power, we're going to give citizens power to sue abortion providers or people who have had an abortion. Now, when you countersue somebody, you're going to countersue a person or a member of the state. Abortion clinics can't do that because the Attorney General isn't the person that's in charge of this. He's not enforcing it. Citizens are enforcing this. So it's like a smart way of getting around the fact that you can countersue. You can't do it. And I was thinking that's ingenious, but incredibly conniving.
Yeah. That is, again, the agenda. There's definitely an agenda here.
That fits the agenda, right? And it's tricky because you're putting them into a corner, and what they're saying is, we don't want abortion clinics to go out of business. We just want them to say, yeah, you can't book an appointment if you're 6 weeks pregnant. Which essentially is killing the business because most people don't know.
Yeah, no, it's obviously going to impact the business, and it's going to lead to another business, which is going to be people still going to get it done. Get it done on the sly. I don't know how they regulate or enforce that. Like what, random spot checks at clinics, like booking scans, how many weeks?
Well, here's how they enforce it. If you snitch on somebody and you sue them, you can win up to $10,000.
Oh my god!
You can win up to $10,000, and you'll have your attorney fees paid for by the state. This is turning into some North Korea shit.
Which one, man? This is a witch hunt.
This is some North Korea shit, because I was listening to Rogan when that chick from North Korea was on, and she was saying, people we're all employed by the state to spy on one another. And we all snitch on one another if you do something out of line or you're not shown to be loving enough.
When was this Rogan podcast?
It was about a month ago.
Okay.
And she was just giving you a breakdown of it, and this rang down that what am I trying to say? This rang the bell of some sort of reminder, I guess, that this is a possible thing that can happen. And it just seems very similar, like it's going down that pathway. It's not fully there, but it's taking one step in that direction of relying on other people around you. It's like in the book 1984. You don't know who's your friend and who's your foe or who's on your side. Everyone's spying on you. And that's how it kind of is when it comes to just abortion. But then where's that line going to cross? When's it going to stop?
10 grand, man. 10 grand will change most people's lives.
If you win. If you don't win, then you've got to pay for your own fees. And you don't just sue the clinic, you sue the family members involved, the person that's having it, those that had any knowledge of them doing it unlawfully. Yeah, you can sue them 10 grand a piece, I think. Which means you're going to have this massive backlog in the courts of cases, stuff like this being brought forward, and you've got to check and see how valid they are. It's not smart. It doesn't make much sense. Essentially, you're turning Texas into a bit of a boiling pot, aren't you?
Looking for people. What's been the reaction in the state then? People protesting, or?
I think it's protests and stuff. I haven't kept up to date with the actual reaction now, but Joe Biden has said he's going to try and intervene. I don't know how you can, because America's weird with state law and whatnot. I think the reason why it's not got much coverage is because, a bit like how it was in Ireland, where people couldn't have an abortion, they had to go to Northern Ireland or come to the UK to have it and then go back. It might turn into the same thing in Texas, where you leave state, go and have an abortion, and then come back. Potentially. But even then, when you come back, can you still be sued because you had an abortion after 6 weeks? I don't know. Crazy.
I'm trying to think of what is like a similar comparative that would be as men that we would feel like this is completely taking away our choice.
There isn't one. Because we don't give birth to kids, man. That's the difference.
No, absolutely. I'm not saying on the same level, but something that would be like, oh my God, how can they do that, to us as men? I have to ponder on that one. But crazy, man. Again, 2021, people passing crazy shit. When you think we've gone past all this stuff.
If you get your people in office, this is what you can do. Right? If you have voters that vote that way and lean that way, you're going to do things for those voters. So maybe it's a heavy Republican state and nobody really knew that. And now that they all hold these policies in place, how are you going to reverse it? And there's levels to the court system out there. There's like local government, federal government, Supreme Court, all that shit. I don't understand how any of it works, man. It gets really confusing.
Very, very similar. We have the same system in the UK. There are levels of escalation. Supreme Court is the highest. That's universal across both.
So here in the UK, it's based on... We just have but it's all based in the UK law. Like over there, it's It's
Correct.
you have to go
yeah.
with your state law, and then you get taken to
Yeah,
national
yeah.
law. Yeah,
Yeah, whereas it's universal. Yeah, that's true.
yeah. And Supreme Court, I think they voted in favour of it 5-4 because they have 5 conservative judges on their board. That's how. Because do you remember how when Trump left, he managed to get that 5th person on board who was a conservative? Because one judge, they don't call them judges, they call them justices. One justice was a Democrat. He stepped down and then he filled it with a Republican, which means anything that goes to Supreme Court that is a potential contentious issue that will lean Republican is always going to get through.
That's it, man. They're getting the right people in the right positions, like you said.
Right people in right positions, man. That's all it
policyholders.
is. Yep.
It's
crazy.
the game, man.
Yeah, abortion and stuff. It's a bit confusing, man. I don't like how people are having their choice taken away from them. Let women do what they want with their body, man. Honestly, it's up to them. Our job as men is done within like a couple of minutes, really. Let's be real. After that, it's all up to them. What they want to do with it is up to them.
I agree completely.